Mm. And that's simple, isn't it? Very simple pleasure, settling, expanding. Thank you so much. We can rest our hands on our ribs if we like. That's a good option. Upper chest is good as well. I find if you rest your hands on your upper chest, the pectoralis muscles, it's quite useful to move or to walk the shoulder blades out, making a bit more space, moving them out a little bit. It just makes the collarbones more comfortable. The breath is through the nose if you can. The lower back is settled and settling. And the roots of the neck are soft and softening. From here, we're going to flex the hip of the leg closest to me, meaning lift the foot. Release the hands from wherever you've positioned them and gently pull the leg in. The direction for some is slightly out to the side, others less so. It all depends on what feels natural because we all have different alignments of the head of the femur, the neck of the femur, the acetabulum where the head of the femur sits. It's not uncommon to have different lengths of the neck of the femur and different directions in the way that the receptacle of the acetabulum points. So just make the leg comfy, breathe through your nose, relax the neck, relax the shoulders. Let the leg wander wherever it will in terms of release and breath and expansion. Brahma, the Sanskrit word Brahma or Brahman. Lift the foot off the floor that's on the floor and you'll feel, I hope, a little bit more softness of the lower back. And then extend out the leg you just drew back and then contract it again. So we're just going to do that 2, 3, or 4 times, just whatever feels natural. But obviously make a note if it's 3 or 4, so that when we do the other side, it will be the same. So then we swap hands over to the other side. Put the other foot down for a moment and breathe through your nose. Deep, expressive, the Sanskrit word karana can intimate expressiveness, particularly expressive action. So we're expressing primarily moksha, release. We're looking for a liberated mind, which I was enjoying reading just this morning. In some texts, the mind is liberated, at least temporarily, when in a state of empathic joy. That constitutes liberation. Lift up the other leg as you did with the one before, and similarly extend and contract back and forth. The same amount of times that you did before, whether it was 3 or 4 or whatever. And then it's a hug for both legs and a bit of rolling. The purpose of rolling is disappearing, in other words, melting, reabsorption, like one might disappear into a kiss, into a hug, into the early morning warmth, May sunshine on one's face. So it's just that kind of surrender, total surrender, like everything gives. And that's called Brahman. It's expansion, isn't it? Surrender is expansion. So the fully expanded Brahman state of awareness can hold anything, pleasant, unpleasant, without being consumed by it. We can be consumed by the unpleasant. We can be consumed by the pleasant as well, to the point of contraction. But Brahman contains all, fully expanded. Nothing has to be pushed out. Nothing has to be pulled in. It's all there. It's all allowed. When you're ready, slow and calm, release your legs back to the floor. Take a breath or two. If you've got any head support, remove it. Wave your arms side to side above you, like you're waving them side to side to a popular music hit of your choice. I'm doing it to Are You Reeling in the Years, that one. And then as the arms come side to side, they begin to move over your head, down towards the floor. And of course, the purpose of movement is to articulate and re-articulate, to invite and re-invite movement of each and every fiber. In this case, we're particularly focused on the movement of the shoulder blades. It's a big movement of the shoulder blades. When ready, that is when you've moved and removed and you feel free to do it again, then you lift your feet and extend your legs, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. Obviously, it's a good opportunity for movement of the ankles and scrunching of the toes and circling of individual one foot at a time, or even both together if you prefer. Looking for a calmness that creates connection. So a deep, natural breath, looking for a calmness that creates connection. So I find the calmer my mind, the easier the connection. I can get a sort of direct connection if I'm focusing on calmness. Once the feet feel lovely, lively, lovely, breathing through your nose, extend and lower both legs simultaneously together, keeping the lower back close to the floor, intimate with the floor. So that's a meditation on intimacy, on aliveness. Until you reach the floor and melt. And once you reach the floor, melting means bending the elbows, letting the legs fall away from each other, breathing through the nose, expressive. So you want to be completely soft. So, really soft, like the skin on every part of the body. It's so beautiful. Saying yes with the body is the most beautiful thing. So the Sanskrit word Shraddha in the Pali language, it's Saddha. It means faith, confidence. I usually interpret that as the faith or the confidence to let go right now. So what is it we have faith or confidence in? Earlier we were talking about the man who set up the shrine, and there's some really beautiful stuff on the shrine today, including rays of light that he's made out of pieces of cotton. His name is Sthana Shraddha. So he's got steady Sthana in Shraddha, in confidence. And he's been decorating a shrine with a Buddha. So you might think, oh, okay, maybe it's some religious thing. You've got to be confident, have faith. Could be a Christian, could be a Buddhist, whatever. But actually, Buddha doesn't mean a person. Buddha is not anybody's name. It just means awake. So confidence in consciousness itself, which is fully expanded right now. It's the container of everything. Okay, bend your legs. Place your feet on the floor. Hands under the head, fingers interlaced. Lift the feet up off the floor, bent knees. Lift the head as well. Breathe through your nose and explore the naturalness. Nothing for anyone to be or not be, or to reach out for, or to push away from. It's natural. It's relaxed. The Sanskrit word chaitanya. So it's relaxed. You just feel the lower back on the floor. You breathe into it. It's relaxed. And relaxation is openness, it's expandedness, and then you can feel the flow of things. Whereas if our mind is stuck on an opinion, then it resists flow. It believes things to be this way rather than that way. or beings to be this way rather than that way, or phenomena. But the reality is the way the back feels is like this, isn't it? It's changing, it's subtle, it's dance-like, it's like a kiss, and the way we're surrendered to it. It's expressive, it's spontaneous, it's beyond thought, it's beyond personal. It's powerful. It's called Shakti in the Sanskrit language. And when you're ready, open the angle at the back of the knees to about 90 degrees, please. And we're going to turn towards the shrine side of the room by bringing opposite knee and opposite elbow towards each other. While we're doing it, we can extend up the opposite leg and descend it 3 times. The practice is not doing some exercise and bearing with it, but staying with the intimacy of the lower back and the floor. Obviously back to the other side when you're ready. And similarly, 3 up and downs, but the meditation is on the intimacy of the lower back and the floor. Moment to moment, molecular awareness. Back to center. When you've done the 3, head down, feet down, deep breath in and out. A few expressive breaths would be really good, really useful. As we're taking these expressive breaths, these spontaneous breaths, we're going to release our hands from behind our head. We're going to stretch them over the head again by waving them side to side, moving the shoulder blades, moving the scapula, walking those shoulder blades out and up. There's light tone of the tummy, meaning it draws in and up. In, that is, in a sort of observable physical way, we draw the tummy in. And then internally, that same energy is drawn up. So it's a continuum of energy. It's just some seems to be more outside and some is more inside. And the belly goes in, and then the energy continues up through the ribs, through to the chest, and then we lift the pelvis with that energy still remaining. We lift the bum, we move left, right, up, down, we shake, we tilt, we bounce, we sway. Our purpose is yoga, obviously, we know that. And we know, I'm sure, that yoga means together. And there are many ways to interpret the word together. But here we can understand it from the Yogacara tradition as the togetherness of subject and object. The complete unity, which when unified, subject and object, you have experience only. Like in Zen, chop wood, carry water, that kind of thing. Experience only. Nobody having an experience that exists somehow on the outside of them, and nothing, no subject that is solid that's having that experience. And no permanent, lasting, separate objects that are somehow separate from the subject who experiences them, but themselves are permanent and lasting. All there is this empty dance. Quite hard to talk about. Come down nice and slow. When you're ready, enjoy the honesty. And breathe through your nose if you can. Deep breaths, expressive breaths, honest breaths, natural breaths, like a closed fist becoming an open palm, like a surrender, Sharanagati. Walk your feet towards your bum and stretch your arms down, holding the mat. Get the most robust hold of your yoga mat that you can, the most robust hold that you can. So you really pull those shoulders down. And then we want to keep them held down. We want to observe the potential release that we have there for the descending fibers of the trapezius, so skull down to the collarbones, from the jaw down to the collarbones as well, so the scalenes. And there are many other muscles and fibers extending in these directions from the skull to the collarbones and shoulder blades and shoulders. So it's really good just to feel. Now, when you're ready, lift your bum Just a little way off the floor, maybe move left, right, up, down, looking for integration in the lower back. And as you come further up, start turning your arms out, the upper arms out, as you lift up higher. But still you have this absolute freedom to drop, to lift, to sway, to tilt, to bounce, to incorporate, to find any waifs and strays and incorporate them in the body, incorporate them into the pose until there's oneness. So I've compared this to mopping up water with a clean cloth. As you move the cloth over the water absorbs until there's not a single bit of the cloth that's left unsuffused by water, and there's not a single drop of water left on the surface either. So it all comes together through movement or rubbing moisturizer into the face. You rub it until it's, or sun cream, you rub it until it's sort of disappeared. Similarly, moving the body until subject and object of vision disappears, and there's just, well, it's pretty hard to use words. Coming down in your own time, shoulder blades moving away from each other. Walk your feet away from the bum. Breathe through the nose. Any little adjustments, let them all happen and flow and natural and expressive and powerful and sassy and Shakti. So deep, expressive, powerful. When ready, raise the leg furthest away from me, straight up, and dorsine and plantar flex the foot. Plus, you can add any other movements that feel natural to you, like swinging the whole leg, like scrunching and unscrunching the toes, like circling the foot one way and or the other. When ready, interlace your fingers behind the thigh of that raised leg. Breathe calmly, expressively, keep the neck soft. Press the hands into the thigh into the hands, and breathe freely until you get a tingling sensation arising somewhere in the front of the leg. Could be the top of the shin, could be inside the knee somewhere, could be in the thigh, could be in all three places. Tingling, buzzing, fizzing, temperature change, sparkling, it could come under any of those descriptives. But when you feel something fuzzy, buzzing, fizzing, then you draw it up, you comb it up with your intention. You set up intentional, influential currents that repeat themselves. They move up through, from the shin, through the knee, through the thigh, towards the pelvis, and then another immediately on the back of the first, and then the third on the back of the second, and on and on. Wave after wave of influential currents, influencing that fizzing, buzzing, whatever it is, and drawing it up. So we're recruiting fiber by fiber. No holding of the breath. Okay, bring that leg down when you're ready. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out like a sigh. Or two, or three, or four, or five. So closed fist becomes an open palm. Closed lotus flower bud becomes an open, fragrant lotus flower, emitting its fragrance in all directions. Its Sanskrit word is vasana, fragrance. When ready, raise up the other leg. Similarly, interlace your fingers behind the thigh. Breathe through your nose and relax the neck. Jaw soft, temples soft, neck soft, brain soft, whole back chain. And then we're pressing while breathing until we feel fizzing, buzzing, vibration, temperature change, visualized sensation, whatever it, one of those or something else, some sort of sensation that then you set up your influential currents, one after another, like combing hair. Okay. Bring that leg down when you're ready. Take 3 deep breaths, deliberate, expressive, opening. There's this natural, it's this softening of every part of the body, the whole body being like one, this sort of receptivity of the skin itself. It's like the skin itself is saying yes to the moment. It's the most profound ability that a human has, is the ability to surrender, to open. Let's roll onto our side to face towards the shrine side of the room, where Stana Shraddha has been busy with string, making radiant light, represents radiant light, extending the bottom ribs. Bless you. Bless you again. Double bless you. Extend the bottom ribs and armpit. Breathe through the nose. Feel free to roll around enjoyably for the purpose of love. Love and disappearing are the same thing. When there's love, you disappear into the object of love. And so subject and object become one, don't they, when there's love? When there's love between two people, they disappear, don't they, into each other. And love is the foundation of consciousness itself. Now let's pick up the top leg and play. And the purpose is love. In other words, it's just synonyms for surrender. So we're picking up the leg and we're looking for release of each and every fiber. And at the point where each and every fiber is doing just this and nothing else, at that point, that's called samadhi, which is, according to the Yoga Sutra, the goal of yoga, the end point of the Ashtanga path. So samadhi is attained through, in modern Vajra yoga, we attain it through getting every single cell to be doing this and only this, releasing upwards, coming into agreement, extending out, so that every cell, whether it be a respiratory element or whether it be a muscular element, every fiber of our being on a physical and every other level, doing the same thing. Now, therefore, you could keep going with that, but we're going to reach through practicing kshanti, patience, so that we reach for the big toe without twisting the foot. That takes timeless time. It's one of the reasons we're here. You've got the option to raise the leg or not, but what matters isn't being in some sort of pose, but bringing about a molecular change, cell by cell, molecule by molecule. Not holding the breath, breathing through the nose, feeling the cells of the inner thigh, the adductor muscles, releasing. When you're ready, obviously we could stay infinite time. Come down, knees up, come up from the side, unhurried, round to the other side. The pose is Anantasana. In front of Sanskrit words, the Sanskrit letter A can be placed there to act as what's called the alpha privative, to negate what follows. It doesn't mean that all things that start with an A, which looks like in English A, are negations, but sometimes they are. And sometimes if you've got an A at the beginning of the word, you can't put A and A together, so they put un instead, A-N. what looks like an. The sound is un. So you get ananta, without end. Anta means end. Anyway, it's a little Sanskrit waffle. When you're ready, you can roll backwards, roll forwards. Enjoyable, because it's like a kiss, or like smelling a rose, or like feeling the sun on your face, or like smelling fresh cut grass, or like taking your first sip of coffee if you're a coffee drinker. A moment of profound, just a moment of profound richness. And you lose yourself. And when you lose yourself, you find yourself, because you lose yourself in the infinite field, which we call the goddess of interdependence, that otherwise, out of habit, we rarefy ourselves in juxtaposition to that field. When you're ready, pick up that top leg, playful, loving, enjoyable movement. So you can move forwards and backwards. You can bring the leg any direction that begins to help it overall come to the upright over timeless time. It's a very strong habit to get things done, isn't it? To follow a deadline. And that, of course, may well be necessary for work and for boiling eggs. But when you're doing yoga, the whole point is to enter into timeless time. And also, that's the more honest experience. When we do things to deadlines, we often have to compromise. It's not as honest. We have to go, okay, I'll have to ignore that or ignore this. Ignore my body's, saying no or whatever. But in yoga, that's the opposite's true. So working on that inner thigh in timeless time, every single fiber, you've got the option to bring the arm through on the inside of the leg. And then that discipline for me anyway, because I count as someone who's impatient. So to get hold of the big toe without twisting the foot, I really have to, discipline myself. And then extending up, if you want, is an option. Breathe into it without holding the breath. It's like a kiss, it's like a hug, it's like losing yourself in the smell of a jasmine flower or rose or night-scented stock. It's essentially Om. It's essentially yes. Very good, very good. Timeless. Coming down when you're ready. Knees up. Come on up from the side. We're going to sit on 2 blocks. We're going to use a pata, a belt, or have one available anyway. 2 blocks is placed like that, short knee to short end. The pata, the belt, is nearby. And you're sitting on those 2 blocks for the most excellent dandasana. So you draw the butterfly out and back. So you come to the inner front edge of the ischial tuberosities, that is to say the sitting bones. And I find quite a bit of reiteration is useful in that. And I definitely lean to the opposite side to the side I'm adjusting, not just lean to the side, but lean diagonally. And I adjust diagonally too. So the body goes one way, the adjust is diagonally the other. You take your pata, round your feet, and pull to lift, to make light, to breathe. We want to melt tensions over time, and one very, very useful way of melting is movement, because not only does it literally melt extraneous myofascia, it also brings more fluidity to the fascia generally, but it also negates clinging patterns. Most of us have this very, very strong inclination to concretize around experiences so that we can call them things. That's a person, that's a good person, that's a bad person, that's a good thing, that's a nice thing, that's a bird, that's a dog. This is a nice day. We concretize around things, but yoga says avoid concretization, and then you get flow. And then that means you're at one with the goddess, which is the ultimate reality of all our experience. Ultimate reality just means, once you've sort of eliminated provisional realities that are superimposed, we're left with interdependence, which is the goddess. So you're moving side to melt extraneous myofascia, breathing calmly. And it may be that the pelvis, where tilted back, can start coming more to the upright as the hamstring myofascia releases, or even a little further forward. Doesn't matter. What we want is to get somehow the pelvis and with it the spine to move from wherever it is, backwards like this, to upwards like this, upwards like this, to forwards like this. But it does depend on avoiding concretization, of breathing freely, of melting. So we're experimenting around Dandasana / Paschimottanasana. It may be that it's easy, natural to walk along the belt. I often walk my sitting bones out and back as I'm walking the body forwards. So by leaning to one side and leaning to the other, one might be able to do something similar, walking the sitting bones out and back. Depending on the length of the arms relative to the length of the legs, one might stay with the belt or hold the feet, doesn't matter. If we want a destination to reach by a certain deadline, the destination is absorption, and the deadline is it takes place in the timeless, so to deal with that. So absorption, total absorption. When there is total absorption, that is a timeless experience. You move out of the dimension of time altogether. And that's called akala. Akala. Kala means time. We get words like Kali from that, the goddess Kali. So at the point of absorption is timelessness. Absorption isn't something somebody's doing. It's absorption of that somebody back in, or reabsorption of that somebody back into the origin field, interdependence, which is a field of permanent change, which we don't tend to notice because we're so busy concretizing usually. Okay, good job. Keep calm. Come up nice and slow, nice and easy. We're going to sit on 2 blocks. So we're going to come off 1 block, sit on 2. Legs extended out. Belt nearby. It may be that you might even need to sit on 3 actually, but we'll see how you go. We're going to fold 1 leg back to the side of the hip. So it's a half virasana. Buttock flesh is drawn out and back, and then you bend up the other leg as well. And you sit up tall and light. This is where you might want to use a belt. Yeah, have a third, Ollie. Just in time. How's that? Is that better with 3? Yeah, good. Then we either use the belt and place that around the foot, or we take hold of the foot directly, like I'm doing here, and then leaning back, breathing through the nose, melting tension in the thigh of the bent leg, of the lower leg, as we begin to raise the other leg to whatever amount. It's nice, useful, I think, to keep the energy moving into the hip. So there's a sort of intended rebound, always centered around breath, aren't we? Expressive breath, dance-like breath. The breath of someone engaged in a kiss. Actually, I woke up singing that song this morning in my head by Prince. I thought, isn't that a great song? Breathe through the nose. And then energy moving up through to the hip, not holding the breath. So much scope for this sort of dance-like intimate play. So much scope for it. And in that way, we're entering into timelessness. That's a benefit straight away. And with this sort of honesty, rather than karmic drivers, known as samskaras, then the pose really becomes very, very open. It's its natural tendency to open. We only close when we're grasping, you know. The leg can go as high as you like. You know, it's good to challenge the edges and then find uh, intimacy again, oneness again. Okay, nice and calm, unhurried. Bring the leg down. Gently extend out the other leg. Breathe through your nose. Draw the buttock flesh out and back. When you feel settled and have taken a couple of deep breaths, then you fold the other leg back. Again, you're sitting on 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 blocks at most. After that, it starts to become a teetering pile. When you're ready, then you bend back the leg and reach round, either with the pata, the belt, or directly with the hands. What you don't do is hold the breath. You let that go, let it go, let it go. It's a song in that. And this beautiful melting, it's really, I just presume, you know, we all get it. Because it's quite hard to describe, really. Beautiful melting, which is something, you know, it's like, keep just saying, like a hug, like a kiss, like the sun on your face, like, you know, surrendering into what I call a sun road in the sea. You know what I mean? Those little roads that look like they lead to the sun. When you're ready, lean back and raise the foot to whatever extent you want. You know, it's about the breath, not about how you look, but how expressive and how open. You know, we're a flower that's opening. That's the yoga paradigm. That's the yoga goal. If you want to call it a goal, that's what it is. More perhaps as a reference, but if the leg does come high, maybe your arms are long and your legs are short or something, then one can take the same arm as the raised leg, palm facing out. That goes forwards onto the foot, and then that takes hold of the opposite wrist. In that way, it helps to pull the ribs around, but that's probably not appropriate. But if it is, or when it is, energy drawing up and into the hip, breathing through the nose without holding the breath. We can challenge the edges. We can make it, a bit more dynamic than it is. Test another further edge. But then each time you test an edge, it's up to us to then integrate, to find ways to be that, fully to be that. Okay, bringing the leg back down. When you're ready, extending out the other one, coming off the blocks, coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana. I have to say it's a joy being on Buddhist center mats, because every other studio I go to, they spray the mats over and over again. Oh my God, why won't they stop? And they usually spray them with something that has oils in them, so the mats get more and more slippy, and it's a bit of a nightmare. Anyway, we don't do that at the Buddhist center. Of course, there's no evidence that doing that actually does anything useful. It's sort of, I think studios have just got in a habit since COVID, and no one's thought to question it. Anyway, there you go. That's my rant. It's finished now. The palms lovingly meshed into the mat. So the molecules of the mitts merge with the molecules of the mats. Might be a tongue twister, that. The molecules of the mitts merge with the molecules of the mats. And then, of course, whatever you need to do, padding. Sometimes I go on one foot on its own and take the other one off the floor, bending and extending, get into it. Once things start to become limber, so the first things we do is we are to serve limbering up. But once things become limber, then the idea is to get energy up to the groins, the top of the front thighs, and then fold over the top of the front thighs, which brings the whole torso and pelvis together, closer to the floor. Then you have to get more evenness through your palms, so the arms really work. And the legs are strong as well, strong meaning integrated. So there's this lift up under the kneecaps. It's very profound, integrative experience. And then you repeat, wave after wave. Up to the top of the thighs, the pelvis hinges from there. Constantly balancing those palms. Well done. Come down nice and easy. Kneeling, taking any support you normally use for kneeling, like a block between the heels and buttocks, or a rolled up blanket under the ankles. Breathe through the nose if you can. Deep, expressive, natural. Deep, expressive, natural. Coming to lay on your tummy when you're ready. Propping yourself up on your forearms so that you can stretch the tummy multiple times. You move to the left to stretch the right, you move to the right to stretch the left. Stretching the legs as well. Breathing through the nose. Reiteration, reiteration, reiteration. Stretching the legs back is also useful. Let's do that, but with a view to turning the middle of the thighs straight down. So when I stretch the leg back, I do it lots of times, but it's fast. It's not rushed, it's just swift. So you lift the leg, stretch it in the air, and then you land it so that stretch is kept in place. And you do that in combination with stretching the tummy. And then between those two, you're stretching the psoas. Now bring your hands by your mid ribs. Just experiment with where your heels are. Just turn them in, turn them out, so you get a sense of gauging where they are. And notice when they turn in how your back goes a little tighter. Position them so they're not turned in at all, but they're not turned out either, just level. Tone your tummy. Remember earlier we talked about drawing the tummy in, and then inside the body, the energy continues upwards. So in and up, inside the body, and then lift everything up off the floor. Is Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Breathe through your nose, tone the tummy. Triceps pressing down to the heels of the hands. Chest lifting, but we need the cooperation of the lower spine. So we visualize that soft moving in and up. Not holding the breath. Reiteration of that pelvic floor support. Good job. Down you come, nice and calm. One hand on top of the other, rest your head on your hands. Take 3 deep breaths with expressive exhales. Like a closed fist has become an open palm. Sometimes the buttocks are holding on to the memory of that last pose. Let the buttocks let go of that memory. Okay, I know what you're thinking. More. All right. Come up onto your forearms then. Up you come. Stretch that psoas by stretching left and right a few times. Stretching left and right. Stretch the legs as well. Go between those two stretches. And I've already described the relative swiftness of stretching the legs. But I think you just can feel it. I mean, I'm not deciding to move mine swiftly. It's just because I can feel it, you know. The thighs are a little way apart. They face straight down. The heels don't turn in. You bring your hands by your mid-ribs. That tone of the tummy, that up action or in action, and then up within the body. But it's one. It's kind of in up. It's a continuum in the body of what's happening outside. When ready, lift everything up. Breathe through your nose if you can. Light tone of the tummy. Lift that chest, back of the arms down, press down into the heels of the hands, through the back of the arms. At the same time, lift your chest up and tone your tummy. Breathe through your nose if you can. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Well done. Slowly, unhurried, come down. One hand on top of the other. Let the buttocks relax. One thing that we become more aware of is our bums in yoga. We start to notice when they're gripping, you know, when they're released, or even when we're sitting, we can really notice when we're really sitting. As we're just noticing, letting go of tension around the tailbone, letting go of tension around the breath. All right, only one more though. No more after that. Come up onto your forearms. Gosh, I'm such a sucker for what you want. Stretch your tummy. So use traction, stretch your legs. Thighs facing straight down. Get, multiple movements. We've discussed, how the swiftness can help to catch the extension as you extend back in the air, and then you catch it. The heels, we've talked about those, not turning in. We've got the hands by the mid-ribs, the tummy, that in-up action, and then everything up. Everything up. Breathe through your nose. Visualize and feel the spinal column. It's only an expression of the mind. It can be transformed in the present. It can be moved on a molecular level. As long as the mind realizes it's the same thing. Mind and body are one. Subject and object are one. Chest up. Breathe through the nose. Feel that living feeling of the spinal column. Well done. Coming down. Well done. Nice and calm, unhurried. One hand on top of the other. And let's hear some deep breaths. Letting the bum relax. Really letting the bum relax. Raise up the leg furthest away from me. So you just lift the knee, still laying in your tummy. Just to stretch through the adductors and the groins. Breathe through your nose naturally. You can, if you want, even extend that leg, but it's optional. You can even lift yourself up onto your forearms for a bit with that leg extended, with it being bent or straight. Calmly bring that leg back and obs, do the other leg. Same sort of shenanigans. Bringing that leg calmly back. Roll over to face towards me. Bend the leg you're laying on. Extend through the inner groin of the other. Lift and turn. Bring yourself to your elbows, forearms, and wrists. Any sort of play that intuits itself, then please follow that. Top leg on top of the bottom leg. Curl up. Swap around when you're ready. Unhurried. Same thing. Extend the inner groin. Lift and turn. Expressive breath through the nose if possible. Turning and playing and extending and making space in your own way. Top leg on top of the bottom leg. Curl up nice and easy from the side. Any comfortable seated position. Mantra uchara. So sending the bija mantra Om up through the central channel to define, to clear, to flag that central channel. So one bija mantra Om pushed up from the pelvic floor up through the crown and beyond. There's several other reasons why we practice mantra uchara, but we think about it in terms of defining, flagging, clearing. Deep breath down to the pelvic floor. And then a deep breath in and out. Shoulders down. Breathing natural. Arriving. Obviously, we'd like to sit longer. That's the stuff of retreats. So we're going to bring ourselves to lay down for a couple of minutes, flat on the back. So when you're ready, laying comfortably for Shavasana, make sure you're warm. Shoulder blades will be scooted under the body, leaving the chest floaty. Total weight, both feet. Total weight of both feet. Total weight of both legs. Total weight of the buttocks. Total surrender of the pubis and between the front hip points. Total release of the lower back and the tummy. Total release of the left and right sides of the chest. Of the right and left shoulder. Of the right and left elbows. Of the right and left wrists. Of the right and left palms. Total release of the weight of both feet, both hands and the head. Experiencing the weight of the feet, hands and head. Melted pelvis. Melted chest. Melted jaw. Melted jaw. Melted soles of the feet. Melted palms of the hands. melted scalp. When ready, bend your legs and place the soles of the feet on the floor. Great opportunity to scoot the buttocks under and to really let go of the lower back in a deep breath. When you're ready, roll over, facing away from the shrine side of the room and lay as comfortably as you can on your side. In your own time, roll over again so you can face towards the shrine side of the room. And bringing yourself up nice and easy from the side. May any benefit that we've gained be shared for the alleviation of any sufferings of any beings. Om. Thanks very much for coming. Rumors and illness. Hope the sound stayed okay during that class. Lovely to see you.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Stella, as ever.
Stella had to leave early, Jim. She had to go off on an errand.
Sorry, I didn't hear. Say that one more time, Tony.
Stella had to leave early to go off on an errand, but she sent her love and thank you ever so.
Oh, bless you. Bless you both. Lovely to see
Namaste.
you. Namaste to you too. See you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Bye, Tony. Bye.